everybody, and welcome to another episode of CIR Realty Business Mastery. We are joined today by Pavan and Carrie Kaushal. Welcome. Thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. So in addition to being fabulous realtors, Pavan and Carrie are our friends. And the reason I mention that is because we have kind of known you and hung out with you and followed your business a little bit. And Lindsay, a couple of weeks ago, was like, we should really get Pavan and Carrie on because they are crushing it. And he was just so proud of the great work that you guys have done. So thanks for coming on to share your story with us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and a bit of background here. We're going to ask you guys about your history, but Pavan and Carrie had a great breakout year in 2019, and a lot of people did it. And that's especially in Alberta. You know, it's still a tough economy, but they bucked the trends. And one of the things that I've seen in your businesses is sort of the snowball effect of accumulation of all the activities you've done in the past that are come to fruition, and you've planted so many seeds, and now stuff is working. And you are both hustlers. You guys are out there doing everything.
I was just going to use the word hustle.
Yeah, so hopefully at the end of this, you guys will have a little bit more hustle, a little bit more swagger in your step. They're looking good. We showed up and we're like, God, we got to clean our shoes now. Like,
I know.
Trying to get everything done. They're upstaging us. So.
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Okay, so let's start with this. And Carrie, let's toss it out to you. Actually, Pavan, let's start with you because Carrie came in a little bit later on the scene. So 2 minutes or less here. Tell us about how long you've been in real estate, sort of your background coming up to today.
Sure. So originally I was working at an engineering company, and I just didn't like being in a cube and not seeing people. And during that time I was working there, I started buying my own properties.
Nice.
So in 2006, I was looking for a change, and I thought, like so many of us do, being a realtor seems kind of easy. I think I could do this.
Literally, yeah.
So I got my license in 2006.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then coming forth to today, and then so that was 13 years ago?
Yes.
Awesome. And Carrie?
Yeah, so I started October of 2018, and I left the oil and gas industry, and I started to go to school for IT, and I wasn't loving computers, so I noticed Pavan was doing really well, and he was going to hire an assistant, so I decided to get my license and help him.
Nice. And you're like, I can do this better.
She became the boss, right?
Can do. Of course you can do better. Of course.
That's awesome.
Cool. So you guys are married happily. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
What is it like working as a husband and wife, which is actually not uncommon in real estate? We go to a ton of conferences and we know a lot of brokerages, and obviously Lindsay and I are also married, but it's not uncommon to see husband-wives teams, but I'm sure that there's some really big pros, and there's, let's limit your 3 challenges to like the top 2. But talk about your experience doing that.
Sure. So I really enjoy having Carrie and being able to work with her. It's been pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Taking notes.
Well, the benefit is you get 2 realtors for the price of 1. We get to do twice as much work in half the amount of time. And we find that if one person is gravitating towards one another, we can let them take the lead.
As far as kind of who's going to take the lead with a specific client, like personality type?
Yeah. So sometimes people click better with Pavan versus myself or vice versa. So
yeah, that's awesome. As far as your work dynamic goes, is it hard separating work at home? I know that when Lindsay and I first started dating and we worked together, we had this rule where it was, we're together all day, we're working, we already work 55 hours plus a week. We can't talk about work at home. And then very quickly we realized there is absolutely no way we will ever not talk about work at home. And it was almost just an understanding that was like, that's okay, that's just our life. And to try and put that boundary for us would have been almost impossible.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to seep into everyday life, and we're both passionate about real estate. We just kind of accepted that if we're out, it's going to come up.
Yeah, and we do a lot of things together. Like we work out together, we work together, we vacation together. Yeah, so we are together a lot, and it's nice. But like when I first met Pavan, we started working we met each other working together. So it's kind of always worked.
Yeah, that makes sense. Same.
Tell us about some challenges though. So it's not all sunshine and lollipops all the time, or maybe it is. No, but I know for us it certainly wasn't.
Well, we have totally two different personalities, so sometimes we don't necessarily agree on everything. We miscommunicate sometimes, but at the end of the day, we make it work for our client.
We find, another challenge is we both want a vacation together, so getting that time off and not being in here is a little bit challenging, right?
Yeah.
Yep, that makes sense.
Do you guys have somebody that covers your business for you then? Or some key realtors?
We do sometimes ask someone here, but we do pick up the phone when we're away, right? With the technology now,
we work on vacation quite a bit.
We did an offer from the beach in Hawaii, so it's fine, right? With DocuSign and everything now that we have access to, it makes it so much easier to travel and be productive.
But you're also
No, that's okay.
You're also understanding of each other too. It's like, oh, this is going into our bank account, so let's bang this off, and then we'll go surfing.
Exactly. Yeah.
When I worked in oil and gas, I was kind of jealous. I'm like, oh, I have to wake up at 6 a.m., go through traffic, and then he'll get up at 9 a.m. and he's like,
send an email. I made $1,000. I'm gonna go back to bed now.
But now we're both kind of on the same page, and I understand it, and it works.
That makes a really big difference. I've said to so many of my friends and women that I know in real estate who have tough times with their spouses, often who aren't in the business, just because that level of understanding just isn't there, right? I have to go to this dinner. I have to go to this party. I have to go to this hockey game. I have to pick this phone call up. And I'm very conscientious of the times, and I know that Lindsay would be too, of we're doing something and he has to pick up the phone. And he's on the phone for 20 minutes. And I know that if I didn't work with him and I didn't get it, it would bug me. Which isn't, I mean, it's just an honest thing to say. Mm-hmm. But because you get it, it's just of course you have to take that call. Which is why I think that so many people in real estate, it's very common that significant others end up doing it just because it is a value to the business and it is a value to the client because your home life is supportive of working when you need to work. And I think the whole vacation thing too, and we have many conversations if we have to work on vacation where, a lot of people work 9 to 5 and when they're at work, they have absolutely no flexibility. Mm-hmm. And they get 3 weeks of vacation a year. And when they go on vacation, they should probably unplug because they have 3 weeks and that's it. Yeah. But when you get to be realtors, it's we get a bit more flexibility than most people day to day. So if you're on vacation and you have to do something, that's probably okay.
And the reward is quite nice.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Nope, that makes sense.
Oh, that's cool.
And we have a kid too, and he sees it, and he's starting to understand it, and he even wants to become a realtor now because of it. So
nice.
It's kind of cool.
Well, you can live a cool life, and to see parents have some flexibility, that's a big thing.
You'll have to have a junior realtor training program.
Yeah, that's right. We'll bring your kid to work day, and finish up in the training center, teaching people how to.
How fun would that be for all of our realtors' kids to just do a really fun day of something and make it kid friendly? Oh my god!
Add it to the list.
I'm adding it to the list. That would be so fun.
Tell us about, and Carrie, let's start with you. Tell us about the roles that you guys play in the business, and then what we'll do is what do you think? I was going to say, okay, you have to tell me Pavan's strengths and weaknesses, and Pavan will tell me Carrie's strengths.
I'm
we're not doing that. We won't do it that way.
Why don't you tell me Kirsten's weaknesses, Lindsay? Exactly. It's a long way back to Airdrie. I'm not doing that.
This is sort of no editing, sort of learning as we go here. Yeah. Okay, so Carrie, tell me though about the roles you play, because you guys said that sometimes you connect better with other people. So,
for sure.
So, what role do you believe that each of you play in the business?
So I like working with buyers. I like taking them to homes and showing them around different communities. And I love doing open houses and meeting new people, whereas Pavan doesn't like doing open houses.
Fair. Pavan, what about you? What do you see as strengths and weaknesses, or strengths anyways? What are some of the strengths that you feel areas that you like to take on?
I like to take on the listing side of things and kind of coordinate the marketing. And I like to do the paperwork, which many people, I have it down to a science. So
I do not like doing paperwork at all. So any chance he's offers to do it, I'm like, yes, please, I'll do your open houses. But
that is a perfect team.
Yeah.
But this year balance. I have been my new goal is to be more dependent and not it's easy to lean on one another. So my goal this year is to be more
Independent, you mean?
Yeah,
Independent.
sorry.
Yeah. I was like, more
Independent.
dependent.
Sorry.
I have an opposite goal. I just want to be more dependent.
Yeah, you do. And my goal is to know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
So, in terms of roles and strengths, what do you see? You said like paperwork is one thing. So tell me, maybe Pat, we'll start with you. What is one weakness that you feel like that you have that's nice to have Carrie pick up on?
Definitely open houses.
It is, eh?
I just can't do it. I'm not good. I've in 1 year or 10 years, I think I picked up one client. It's just not my strength.
Yeah.
Right.
And plus Sundays, I love for football. So I just come to be honest with myself and say,
Yeah.
it's not my strength.
And Carrie, yours is paperwork, that side of it, or anything else?
I find it just boring a bit. And I'd rather just be out on the field and meeting new people. So
Fair.
yeah, it has a nice balance.
Yeah.
So let's get to your business now and kind of what you guys have been doing to make that set you guys up to have such a great 2019. In general, like why don't you just kind of start with what your year looked like last year and what made it different?
Sure. The majority of our business comes from repeat and referral,
Yeah.
sphere of influence, and of course networking, going out and creating relationships. So I don't know if it just all happened that 2019. I mean, some of the other years were not so bad, but maybe accumulation of everything happening, planting the seeds. And if just because you meet someone, it may take them a while to want to use you, right? They need to see your results. There's one builder I tracked down for about a year, and he'd only talk to me if I'm at the Flames game. So I kept going to the Flames game because he had seasons.
Smart.
Nice.
Plus, I like going. So it,
Yeah.
it was like, win-win.
Well,
So smart.
And that's one of the things that I've loved about watching your businesses is that you guys do a good job of doing the things that you love and working the business side of it into there.
Yeah.
Pat, we're going to talk about this because he's a serial networker. Like you're always like he was always the first person to reach out, the first person to set something up, and it works. Like, and then people want to get together, and then we were at a movie event, and all of a sudden a mortgage broker that he works with comes in, and it's just first thing he says is, Pavan just brings people together. Like it is absolutely. And I'm like, oh, it's not just you. I thought it was so special. And then I'm like, oh, he does this to everybody. So
Well, the thing is, you got to be organic and be yourself. You can't just be like, hey, give me business every time. No one's going to want to hang out with you, right? You have to build a rapport and let them kind of see who you are.
Yeah, and I was like scared to like invite, people over to my house. I was scared that they were going to like judge my house or whatever, or like mixing different crowds together. I thought, well, what if they don't get along? But once we just invited people into our home and like introduced them to like all of our different friends, it just worked. And like, I wish we did a long time ago.
That's such a honest thing to say, because I remember even for us, the first time that we wanted to have people over, and we had a really tiny, like a really, really, really tiny kitchen. There was nobody to put anybody anywhere. And and you go to other people's houses that are great for entertaining. I remember thinking like, but then no one cares.
Yeah.
Like just nobody, nobody cares.
They're just happy that you invited them over, and everyone ends up having a great time. So
that's nice. So bringing relationships, like getting relationships a bit more personal to you guys is something that is a good source of lead generation. Do you find it hard, or not hard, but maybe challenging, managing the time it takes to take those relationships and make them more personal?
It actually comes pretty easy with Pavan. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a
that's
social
true.
butterfly.
That's true.
So
I don't, because when we do go out, I like to just have a lot of people and have a good time. So having them along doesn't really hinder the process, right?
Yeah, so your mentality is, if I'm going to go to a pub one night to watch a hockey game, I might as well invite 15 people out. They don't all need to know each other, but if I'm going to be there anyways.
They're coming to hang out and have a good time. And
yeah, so just the more the merrier, and who shows up, and who doesn't. I invited them, and
exactly,
that was a nice thing to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, people want to work with people they like. So once they get to know you on a personal level and they like you, then they'll most likely work with you.
So, Carrie, you really like doing open houses. So
yeah,
as specifically from like a lead gen standpoint, which is kind of what we're talking about. So the organic networking people side of it is something that you're great at. You're also great at it. But like no one's as great. But no one's as great as Pavan. Pavan's like, you are like the person for that. But let's talk about open houses with you for a little bit, because that is also a significant way that you guys meet new people for your business as well. And that's something that you totally take on. So what is your strategy on that? Is there a certain number of open houses you try and sit? Are there certain areas?
Yeah, so for a while I was working for a builder and sitting in a show suite for a while. So it's kind of like an open house. But I just liked really getting to know people and connecting with them on a friendly level, and just like not even saying, hey, you know, are you ready to buy right now? But like, hey, you know, you're a nice person. You want to go for a coffee sometime? Or you golf? You want to come golfing with us sometime? Like just something different. So yeah, that's all I really do is try to connect with people, show them the product, know the product. They can see that you're knowledgeable, know the market a bit, and then share that information with them, and then just try to connect with them.
And what is your and the connect with them is part of it, but as far as your long-term follow-up approach for all of these people that you're meeting at Opus House, is there something specifically, like do you add them to a prospects list, or do you have a newsletter that you send out, or just do you invite them when there's a stampede party? Like what does that look like?
Well, that's a huge goal for me this year, is to put them in my database and be more professional about it. But right now, like we just use text messaging, we use Facebook messaging, we use Instagram. We just add them into any like resource that we can reach out to them. Yeah. And then, that's how we've been doing it. Just the way that they want to do it. Like, you know, are you on Facebook? Or I'll add you on my Facebook, something like that.
So just like informal and something that's a really easy,
super
quick
cash
send a message.
Yeah. And like, it's so crazy because sometimes like I will have buyers message me MLSs through Facebook Messenger. Hey, I want to see this property.
Really?
Yeah, or through Instagram Messenger. It's not always through email. It's not always through the phone. People don't always have time to talk on the phone, or, you know, don't always check their email, but they check their Facebook more than ever these days.
True.
So, they're just reaching. There's so many different resources they can reach out to you, and just pick one. And
I love the concept. They talk about the golden rule of, you know, treat people the way you'd like to be treated, and then the platinum rule, you know, treat people the way they would like to be treated. And I would say do business with people the way they want to do business, and that's key. It sounds like you guys are touching on that.
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit. We were talking about this a bit before the show regarding builders. Builders are like this holy grail for realtors, where they're like, oh, you know, how do I land a builder? And you guys have done a great job of working with builders. Carrie, you mentioned that you sat in some show homes, and Pavan, I know that you do that as well. And I think it's absolutely genius. Because we're talking about, you know, you do open houses, and we just had this open house segment before this, and they're talking about what days of the week. And so it's Saturday, Sunday, but that's not the show home hours of when you're doing stuff. So you actually have other opportunities throughout the week where people walk in who are interested in buying and selling real estate. Yeah. Pavan, tell me the start of it, about when you first started working with the builders and how you said, I'm going to approach this. You've done a great job of it. Tell me about that.
Thank you. How it started, I guess, is we brought in a client and we did a deal, and we wanted to make sure that the negotiation, the whole process was smooth, that the salesperson liked us, and that they'd want to work with us again. So after we kind of had a smooth transaction, they could see how we worked, we invited them out to celebrate the deal.
This is the salesperson?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so smart.
Yeah.
So good.
We don't even go
so
to like
smart.
the owner of the overall project. We just most likely deal with the salespeople.
Sales manager. So we're out, we're developing a relationship, figuring out what they like to do. Next thing you know, we start golfing with them, and then they're like, oh, my hostess just quit, or she can't make it. And I'm like, hey, I can step in for you, not a problem.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So just adding value there.
Isn't that awesome? It's like people think, oh, well, no, there must have been an application process and request for tender where you put it out and you put your proposal in about how to work with it.
Yeah, we've done that before. We've tried putting proposals into builders, and it doesn't work as good as just, you know, just doing a deal with them and getting to know them on a personal level. And like a lot of these salespeople too, they work a lot of hours, and they're just like us. They want to spend time with their families, and they want to make money. So if we can provide a service for them where, you know, we can go in and help them, then it just works. So.
And it's hard for them to find someone that can work a random Wednesday or a Thursday from 2 to 8, right? And being in the industry, we got the flexibility with two of us to say, yeah, I can go in. Carrie handles everything else. Plus, there's a computer, there's Wi-Fi, there's access.
Yeah, and we know the project from like the sale that we've done with them, and we are knowledgeable realtors, so they trust you. So
that's really smart.
Yeah.
And then obviously not every client end up buying in that project, but you can also.
Well, the primary goal is, to definitely push them there.
Project,
but,
yeah, for sure.
And then we try to take the selling leads, right?
Yeah, and then homes to sell. That's right. Yeah, perfect. I absolutely love that. I think you guys did such a great job, and that's what the key is. You got to be around. You know, people like people that know, or do business people they know, like, and trust, and you build that relationship. You get in flow, and you're top of mind. So that's so good.
So Pavan, let's go back to the socializing area for this, and I'm going to ask you a personal question. Okay. Not that personal, but it's a little bit personal. Okay. So when we're talking about a marketing budget, right? Like we have meetings with realtors all the time saying, they're like, what should I do this year? And it's like, well, you want to do some farming, or if you want to do some client appreciation stuff, or if you want to run digital ads for all of your listings, right? And we price it all out and say, you should be budgeting something like this. Mm-hmm. So when such a big part of your business comes from socializing and networking, and Carrie, you guys as well, when you're considering your overall marketing budget and the bringing of people together, do you have a certain expenditure level, or if you're going golfing and you're inviting a builder out, is there an expectation that you have to pay for it? Do you feel like you have to do that? Because I think that one of the things that people are weary about often in these situations is, if I'm inviting somebody to come do something, is there an expectation that now this is going to end up costing me a fortune? Are there certain just how do you in your head decide where money is spent from the networking standpoint? Sure.
So we just kind of roll with it. So if we're, say, for example, we're going golfing, we get there early, we pick up the green fee. So when the guy comes, where do I pay? Don't worry, I got it. And then most people are happy, right? So they're like, hey, I bought the first round now for you. So we just kind of go with that. Most people aren't expecting to have everything covered, right?
Yeah. Which is important to note, because some people are nervous that means that, and then you're nervous to.
But I mean, at the end of the day, if you're golfing, you're not going to have a lot of extremely amount of beers, right? Not one person's going to drink 20 beers at, say, $10 a beer. Yeah. And even if they do, that $300 for the 4 hours that you get to spend with them, it's huge.
And you really got to look at who's gonna benefit from your business and how much time and energy you spend in that client.
Space, yeah, for sure.
And who can benefit your business, I think is important. We look at kind of who we want to spend the time with in a year and really kind of concentrate that who can make a dramatic impact to our business.
Yeah.
And I think the pitch matters, because anytime that I've hung out with you guys or stuff has happened, it's not like, oh, we're holding this big, event. And you guys have done that too, but even like the poker event and things like that. There's sort of this. It's always in it's always in a way that I know for myself personally. If I show up to these things, I have no expectations of that anybody's going to pay for anything. It's just kind of like, we'll just sort of figure it out when we get there. Yeah. But it's sort of authentic, as if a friend was just inviting me out to hang out. And
well, it is.
It is. Yeah, it is. But that's just it. I think there's a pitch where it's like, oh, we'd like to take you out. We'd like to thank you for this and take you golfing. Instead of it's like, hey, what are you up to on the weekend? Like, we're gonna go golfing. And then that pitch is different, and it's almost more powerful because it's like we're almost on another level too. It's like, come if you want, if not, and then I don't think that expectation is there that it's going to be that people pay. So,
and if something good happens, of course, we'll all go celebrate, and we'll most likely pick up the bill, right? But we're not always paying every time we see them and stuff like that. So
there's one realtor, and she does great business. But at the end of the summer, I remember her telling me that she got herself into a bad habit of she's like, I need to be more social. I need to do a bunch of stuff, and arranged, lunches and whatever with people, but got to the point where she just always bought, right? She kind of treated everything like a potential client. And then she was like, that was such a bad idea, because I feel like I've almost set this weird expectation.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to break that now. Yeah. So, so I think that's tough.
Yeah, it is. And like, I don't know, like when I was out with my friends the other day, we were sitting around the table and I was like, you know, I know all these people and we've done business with them because of this lady I'm sitting beside. So I'm going to pick up the bill for her tonight.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
and just strategic decisions.
Yeah.
What do you guys do as far as like a client event goes, or the one or two big things where you're like, this is something that it's going to be formal invitations? Is there something that you do once or twice a year on that level?
I think the Stampede party for sure. Which when we are there, like we invite clients and then we buy like 1 or 2 drink tickets for each person. I think that's
so you
huge.
treat that a little bit more as more of a formal thing.
More like a thank you. It's Stampede. Everyone wants to have fun. Everyone has different corporate events that they're going to. So it would be weird to not give them something, I think.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then we also do a Tom Baker poker tournament.
That's our other big event, but they're responsible because we are raising money to buy their own ticket, right? But we're still reaching out and inviting them.
Yeah, and that's a really nice event that you guys do too, because it's a perfect way to just get in touch with everybody and get back. You get to see everybody in one night, which is awesome. Is there a lot of work? And it's a unique event because lots of realtors do the movie nights, but there's so many different ways to host something, and based off of your friends and demographic, like that's a really cool, unique thing that like the people you know love doing that. Is it hard to plan the poker night? Yeah,
we just started planning for the 4th one, so it's going to be on April 9th, and I think I started a little too late, so I got to really dedicate getting on it here, but it does take some time, right? And you guys plan a lot of events, and you probably have the worry, like, oh, I got to sell tickets. What if it sucks? What if no one comes?
Oh, God.
You're like, oh, my prices.
Yep.
It is stressful, and when you get there, then you're like, okay. And at the end of the day, you're like, if it wasn't as happy as you wanted to be, you're like, I raised, I tried.
And the people that were there have a good time, and that's awesome.
Yeah,
we've had a great time.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yeah, no,
we'll see you.
This
April
year
9th.
might be tough.
Yeah, or maybe not.
Her due date's April 4th, so
okay,
I don't know if that's going to happen. I'll be there, of course.
Yeah,
I'll kill you. I'll kill you.
Just kidding. Even Addie from behind the camera is grimacing right now. She's like, oh yeah, we'll see. So that's so funny.
We have this is just it's cute that you would think this, but our CIR pool tournament this year, I think it's on April 12th. Like it's sometime really, really close. Yeah. And he was like, that's like the perfect time to like bring the baby and everybody can. I was like, you have like, no.
Yeah, baby's first pool tournament.
Exactly. Baby's first, everything. You're not going to deny the baby first. Buddy.
Teach him how to play poker at a young age.
That's right.
That would be like his first week of life. It's a poker tournament and a pool tournament.
Well, and I want to make a comment, even something, Kirsten, that you mentioned, where realtors get caught in this trap of feeling like, oh, I have to buy a lunch, I have to buy things. Well, if you feel like you're in that trap, my attitude is always, to buy the best of something in the category. So if you have your favorite coffee shop, like there's some brilliant, nice coffee shops. You take someone to Phil and Sebastian's or something, even the perception of the coffee even a bit higher than Starbucks. So if you said, I want to give that perception, then quit inviting people out for lunches. Start inviting people out for coffees. It's like, hey, I want to meet you at Phil and Sebastian's. It's my favorite coffee spot. Let's do that. And then you're buying $5 worth of something versus $50 worth of something.
Yeah.
Or like Pavan and I wing nights.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like
25 cents.
And we made like a wing tour of like trying to explore every great wing night that's out there. And it's just it's a fun thing. And it just we just take turns. It doesn't matter. So it's a cool way to do it where you can do it without spending a lot of money.
I'd say just maybe shrink down how many lunches you're doing and to focus on
quality.
The priority. Yeah. And then not spending, maybe you're spending as much, but getting a bigger return.
This next question is always a tough question for realtors, and we don't usually get asked it directly, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to put you guys on the spot a little bit, but so many realtors out there. Let me ask you this. What sets you apart? You've always obviously been in competition before with other realtors, and you guys have won the day. Why do clients, so what do you believe sets you apart, and why do clients choose you versus other realtors?
So we're a husband and wife team, so you get 2 realtors for the price of 1. We spend a lot of time on our listing and buying packages.
Okay.
Yep, we do a lot of research. We're very available, like one of us can be available and we're great negotiators. So
That's great. And you know what? It's nice that you can answer it that succinctly because most people cannot. So it's nice that you kind of have like, these are my 5 bullet points, and you just own them.
We also leverage our track record, right? So we've had success in the past, and you have to bring it up, and no one else is going to talk great about you. So you got to come up there and leverage what you have, right?
Yeah.
So we have the track record. We could say in the downturn, we've sold over 100 homes, and
wow.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
And we talk about the brokerage too. We work for an excellent brokerage, and we have 700 agents.
yes, the CIR advantage is huge.
Yeah.
For sure. And we talk about our marketing and all that. So.
And all of that is helpful. So do you treat your buyers' presentations, do you treat those as seriously as you would? Because lots of people have a listing presentation.
Yeah.
And someone will like have a buyer's presentation, but they don't actually go through it, but they have one if someone wants to see it. Do you approach, when you said you have a good buyer's presentation and you take your research, you come to the table with that just as seriously as you would a listing?
Yeah, like most likely we'll get somebody that wants to go out and see a property right away, so we'll bring the buyer package with us, and they just absolutely love it. They open it up, they're like, wow, this is great, thank you so much. Simple as that.
And when we meet them, now we have everything electronic. We like to give it to them right away so that they can review. And then when we are meeting with them, we bring them a copy and see if they have any questions. Most of the times they've gone through it and makes our job a little bit more easier.
Nice.
That's really smart.
I'm about to ask a question that's not listed. So warning, Cindy's going to kick me if that happens. So here we go. But this actually goes into, we have a question here that's, where do you get new ideas on how to grow your business? And one of the things I like is you're trying stuff. Like you're always tinkering. You guys have worked online, leads and done that. You guys have, the builders. You guys have, I know you've done some farming stuff, things like that. Tell me, give me some ideas of things that have worked, and give me some ideas of things that haven't worked.
Yeah.
That you're just
question.
I'm going to say that website we put a lot of money into 1 year.
Yeah, we spent, I think, $60,000 and
got maybe 3 leads.
So I think what we learned
that
is
closed.
3 to 5.
Yeah.
So that was a huge waste of money. We could have spent that like having huge parties for our clients.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is to see what works for you and not be caught up in what's working maybe for someone else and chasing that, right? So we got caught up in, everyone's getting great success. I want a website. I want SEO. I need a blogger. I need a writer.
Yes.
And we're like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So I'm spending all this money, but I'm here's making more. And so if I cut this, I'm still making this. And
yeah. So obviously the web leads things.
It wasn't working. I know people have great success and good for them for sticking it out. But it's you guys are doing the website, it's a long, grueling process to get.
It is very grueling.
You can get tied up in it, and
and it's
when
endless.
to stop spending money on it. I feel like.
Well, you're never done, right?
And the way to make web leads work is you got to call and you got to be following up all the time.
Yeah.
It is like you got to be just Johnny on the spot, and people like it because there's this person I feel like I have that I can just call and call and call and call and call, and that's great because if that works for you, that's awesome. And then there's the other side of it where it's like, gosh, if I put that same energy into just a few key people in my database, you can start getting, obviously the conversion rates are a lot higher. So that's great, but everything works for different people. And you were even talking about how open houses, you're just like, it doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
So
and farming too, like he'll go out and deliver the flyers, and I'm like, that's not my thing. And then he'll get a lead from it, and he'll be like, haha, I got a lead.
Yeah. Told you so.
Yeah.
Well, and I think one of the reasons that I know that we wanted to have you on here is because you have thrown so much up against the wall, right? Like you have not been afraid to try a lot of different stuff. And it's cool because as far as where all of your business comes from, you don't just have one pipeline. Like between the builders and the open houses and the networking events that you do and the delivering of flyers. I mean, even if you just start getting a couple things from each one of those, I mean, that's a lot of different pipelines giving you a lot of leads from different places, which is super cool because it's not just one group of people that you end up exhausting. I think that's one of the best things that you guys do is you're just constantly situating yourself to say, how can I get in front of more people in different situations and expand and expand my database. So on that note, between the builders and the open houses and the farming and all of that, where do you, this isn't on here either, but the amount of people that you guys must know, how do you?
It's crazy.
It's like how
like
do you?
Some days I talk to like 50 people.
I can't
like just texting or whatever.
I get anxiety even thinking about it. So do you have are they in a spreadsheet or is it just
no?
in your
It's
phone
just normally
or?
phone. People like texting you. Hey, what are you doing this week? Like sometimes we have like 5 people. Like, hey, you going to the fights? It's like, yeah. And then you try to make it so everyone ends up in one place and just something like that.
Wow.
So
serial networking. I literally call it that because and that's a knack. That's a gift. I know some people that just bring people together. And I'll tell you, the opportunities that come from that in life, you never know who you're going to meet or who that next introduction around the corner is. It's so powerful.
You really should get them in a database, though.
I know.
It's on our,
As the marketing manager of the brokerage, I feel like it'd be responsible to say you should probably get those down on something with like an address and a phone number and like a first name and a last name that's like in different cells. So you could do like a mail merge, like send out Christmas cards, just.
Yeah, that's what I'll be
Basic
doing
stuff.
this weekend.
Perfect.
At least put 30 people in there once a week, get it going.
Because your database, if it was organized, would be power. Like I can't, oh my gosh.
Well, and everyone has a database, and people forget about that. And it's like, okay, the game has changed because we all have smartphones. But I mean, back in the day, I remember when the first digital PDAs came, those things you flipped up that have the big keyboards on them, and it could hold like this one holds 120 contacts.
Yeah.
And that was huge, but you couldn't put more than 12 characters in.
Yeah.
So things like that. But nowadays, your database is in your phone. Like you got the text message of these people. You do have it in Facebook. You have it in Instagram. You have these followers. You have these people that you can reach at any given point in time, which is the point of a database. In a lot, you know how to reach people. And so the game is changing. So the formal side of it, people can become successful without the days of having a digital Rolodex, call it, which is, so many CRMs. Now with that, still get your stuff.
And instead of like an automatic birthday email going out, a nice text we find goes a long ways.
Oh, I never, for birthdays now, it's either, even when you see it, like that daily email with all your Facebook birthdays, I go right to Facebook Messenger. And if I have them in my phone for a text message, I send them a text. I never post on their timeline. I always do it that way to try to set apart. And we get good results. Everyone replies, like 100% reply.
I still do not know my mom or my dad's birthday. I don't know my dog's birthday. I don't know my grandparents' birthdays.
July 23rd and July 29th.
Like there was this couples test. We went to Kananaskis, and there was this for this couples golf tournament, which we're doing next year.
Okay.
And there was a question where it was the couples like, how much do you know about whatever? And I had to write down my mom's birthday, and then he had to. And the thing was, does your husband know what your mom's birthday is? And he got it right, and I got it wrong.
Oh no!
I know. I don't know why I'm so bad at birthdays.
Yeah.
People love it. I got to get better. Anyways, last question.
Okay.
So 2020, who knows what the year is going to be? Corporately, so far, we've actually had our best sales numbers in January since 2007.
That's huge.
12 years, yeah.
That's
Which is really huge. So, I mean, fingers crossed. That doesn't mean that this year is going to be fabulous, but we're going to hope maybe it's a little bit better than next year.
Yeah.
But advice that you guys would have for people who are a little bit nervous starting this year based on the fact that last year kind of sucked, to say, I'm going to leave this meeting, I'm going to go do a couple of things a little bit differently to hopefully get me 5 more deals this year, like a realistic goal. What would each of your advice be?
Sure, I'll start. My goal was to just focus on who I think can help my business the most, and I'm going to focus on those 3 to 5 people. Networking, going to events, inviting them to my events. I'm going to spend time with them.
So you selected the influencers and said, I'm going to go in and...
Those are my people that I think can help. I've targeted them, and that's where I'm going to spend my time.
I love how it's only 3 to 5 people because that's so realistic and so achievable.
Mm-hmm.
That's really smart. Good suggestion. Carrie?
And then me, just talk to as many people as you can. Just keep on hustling. Don't give up. And just be yourself and get out there and just start networking.
I would just say, just do something. You talk to so many people, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to do a farming campaign, and we're going to do this, and then you see them in 6 months. How's it working out? Well, I'm still researching. Just do it. It doesn't have to be the best.
Yeah,
but
you guys going to hold a course on that? Are you guys going to? And it's just like, whoa. Have you used Google lately?
Yeah, YouTube.
Yeah, literally. And I want to speak to that that whole adage of or the saying of 80% of success is just showing up. Some of the best advice that I ever got in real estate is just be in the business. And if your job is being a realtor, then it's like, what do? Well, you meet people for coffee, you do different things like that. You sit open houses, you're walking community, you're dropping off flyers. It's like if you were to pretend what a realtor does in a day, just pretend that you're a realtor today. Yeah. And it's true, because it's like let's just pretend. Like, you don't have to actually be a realtor, but you're just going to make believe today, and you're going to do those activities. Then look what happens. Like stuff like that.
That is such a good way to put it.
And you guys have done that, and you guys obviously doing it. But you're like, oh, I'm going to go and talk to a salesperson at a show home. Yeah. Oh, there's an opportunity to sit at a show home. I'll say I can cover, and you guys went out and did it. And to your point of, I don't know if it was just a breakout. It's not one thing that you did, but the accumulation of all these make-believe realtor activities that you actually did.
Yeah.
Just try it.
Result.
Yeah, just try it, and whatever works.
Yeah.
Good for you guys. Well, congratulations on the success that you've had.
Thank you.
And we're excited to see your 2020, because it's going to be awesome.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming on and
thanks for having us.
Sharing with everybody who's listening. I know that they appreciate it too.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And to our viewers out there and our listeners, make sure you guys tune in each week, or every second week, I guess, to see our Realty Business Mastery. And make sure you like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and download it wherever podcasts are available. New episode every 2 weeks. So stick with us, and look forward to you guys having a successful 2020.